tonight by Ms. Darby and the pledge by Mr. Bullard. Before that, I'd like to get some opening comments from Mr. Downey.
Thank you, President Cheatham. Just a couple things real quick. We have in our presence Miss Donella Fowler. Donella, where you at? Got a great report from the doctor on Wednesday, and so praise God for that report. And also in our presence is Mr. Gene Cuvion, the retiring principal at Halton High School. Thank you, Mr. Cheatham.
Please join me in prayer. Father God, first and foremost, we want to thank you for waking us up this morning and letting us all see another wonderful day. We pray and thank you again for Ms. Fowler. We thank you for Mr. Cuvion. Yes. We thank you for each and every board member that's here tonight and every teacher, student, and everyone that's in the audience tonight. We pray that we're able to make the decisions that are pleasing to you and only you, Lord. And Lord, we thank you again for a wonderful day. In your name, we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll let you get in first.
Item 1.02, approval of the minutes of the regular session of the board from May 16th, 2019.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ms. Brotherton, a second by Mr. Newman. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 1.03, approval of the agenda of the regular session of the school board for June 6, 2019.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Wiggins and a second by Mr. Slack. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 2.01, recognitions, newly appointed administrators, presented by Mitch Downey, Superintendent.
Thank you, President Cheatham. We have 3 people to recognize this evening, and I told Mr. Cheatham a few minutes ago, I was thinking about it on the way down here. I don't know that I know 3 higher quality individuals than the people that we're going to recognize tonight. And I'm confident in that statement. These are outstanding members of our Bossier School family, and it's a great privilege to be able to celebrate their advancement this evening. First of all, we have a 1993 graduate of Ringgold High School. Served 18 years as a teacher and a coach, has served the last 2 years as assistant principal at Elm Grove Middle School. He's also a state championship, 2-time state championship winning coach at Bossier High School. Mr. Jeremiah Williams is the new assistant principal at Parkway High School. Mr. Williams, if you'd like to say a few words, introduce your family and the people that are here with you this evening.
Yes, sir. First of all, I'm excited about being here and just so thankful and appreciative for the opportunity to serve in a different capacity, or same capacity at a different level. And just looking forward to serving that community, continue to serve it down there in Sobo, and do the best I can to learn the position and learn all I can and glean from Mr. Bates and his experience. And grateful for the experience I had at Elm Grove Middle, grateful for the leadership there, Jennifer Armand, and she just did a great job. So just grateful for the journey and for one more opportunity, one more step. I want to acknowledge my wife, Gloria Williams, who's serving as the head girls coach there at Parkway High School. And then my little boy, one of our children, Benjamin, is here with us today. He's a first grader, going to be a second grader at Sun City. So we're excited about that. So thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Our next individual is also a graduate of Ringgold High School and Louisiana Tech University, 27 years in education as a teacher, coach, and administrator, 25 years at his current site, the last 7 as an assistant principal, Mr. David Haney, the new principal at Halton High School.
It's hard to believe we got 2 Ringgold graduates in one night. I first of all want to thank President Shane Cheatham and Superintendent Downey and Assistant Superintendents Jason Rowland and Dr. Bourgeois. It's a huge honor to continue my career at Halton High School. Another person that I feel is very important to my career, Gene Couvion, who has served our community for 23 years as principal, 42 years as an educator. I want to thank him. There are 3 board members that are very special to me that I just want to recognize. One of them is Eric Newman. Eric was on the first football team that I coached at Halton High School many, many years ago, as you can tell. Another is Miss Billy Jo Brotherton. Miss Brotherton, her last kindergarten class, my oldest daughter Taylor was in, and her family is very special to me. Of course, her son Jason and Coy, had the opportunity to coach both of them, and of course work with Jason now and work with Bob for many years. So they're very special to me. And another one is Mr. Kent Backhouse, who was our first SRO at Halton High School. He's very special to me, has brought me along and taught me a lot of things about being an administrator and how to investigate and look into things from an inspector standpoint. My family's here tonight, a very special group of people. I'm going to start with my mom and dad, Barry Haney, who was mine and Jeremiah's principal at Ringgold High School. The amazing thing is he is just retired. He has been in Bossier Parish school system for 52 years. Him and my mom's there. They just celebrated their 58th anniversary. Behind them is my mother and father-in-law, Tony and Faye Clemens. My children who are here, oldest son, Clay, who teaches at Airline and coaches, his wife, Reagan. She's not a Bossier graduate, but she was a Buccaneer from Barb, so we let her come on in. And then our 3 grandchildren who all belong to them, their son, Braden, who's our oldest grandson, and they just recently had twin daughters, so we've got twin granddaughters back there. And my oldest daughter, Taylor, who teaches at Halton Middle School, teaches math there, and her husband, David Wilkes, who's also an Airline graduate. And then my youngest daughter, Blake, she is the one who got away from us. She decided to go in something else. She's at Bossier Federal Credit Union, which is a good partner for Bossier for Bossier schools. And so appreciate y'all. Thank you. Before I move on, I'm about to forget my wife, most important person. I'm fixing to be in a doghouse. My wife of 29 years in a couple of weeks. She is back there. She is an instructional coach at Airline High School, and she has been my rock for all 29 years. Thank y'all.
Mr. Haney, that was a great save, because otherwise it would have been a little chilly at your house. Next young man, 23 years in the Bossier Parish schools, spent most of his career at Green Acres Middle. He was a curriculum coach at Halton Middle School. The last 3 years, he has been the assistant principal at Parkway High School, and he was instructed directly to not bring the entire town of Blanchard with him tonight. So hopefully he did not do that. Mr. Justin James, the new principal at Airline High School.
Thank you, President Cheatham, Mr. Downey, Mr. Rowland, Dr. Bourgeois, and board members. This is a special night because it's a homecoming for me. Like Mr. Downey said, I was at Green Acres for 18 years, and when I tell you I bled Viking blue, I did. And having the opportunity to go to Parkway several years ago, I had to learn to fall in love with Parkway, and I did. And I love my teachers and the community, the South Bossier community, and board members. Always have my back. There's a lot of people I need to thank, and Lord, I hope I don't forget anyone. You know, the first person, I always talk, surround yourself around people that are going to have your back. Front, back, on the side. That's family, your teammates, your classmates. You know, my number one teammate in the business professionally has been Waylon Bates. You are so lucky, Coach. I mean, I'm telling you, you are lucky. He's one of my best friends and has been unselfish to teach me this side of the business. And, you know, I'm ready. It's going to be, like Mr. Rowland said, you stack bricks. As long as you keep stacking them bricks, you know, the walls being going to keep coming up, and that's what we're going to do at Airline. I want to thank my family. They did. There's a lot of them, Coach, so I'm sorry. I look out and, you know, my wife, Lisa, been married for 26 years. I would be nothing without her. I look out, I see my two older brothers, Jack and Jeff. My brother, Smokey's up in Colorado right now getting ready for elk season. My sons, Eli, who's a freshman, are going to be a sophomore at Airline. Josh, who graduated in 17, and his girlfriend, Sarah Beth, who I love like a daughter. There's my niece, Julie, my sister-in-law, Karen, my sister, Ginger, and this is what I'm most thankful for, and then I'm gonna sit down. For 23 years, I wasn't sure if my mama believed that I actually was a teacher and a coach. So, Mama, where you at back there? I really am. Wait, hold your hand up, Mom. I really am an employee of Bossier Parish, so this is the proof. Thank you.
And I just want to echo what I said before we started introducing them. I don't think you could find three finer individuals, no matter how far and where you look. I think Bossier Parish is extremely fortunate to have people of this caliber in our system.
Mr. Newman?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to just congratulate all three of these employees. They are exemplary individuals. Regardless of where you came from and where you're going, your character stands above everything else you've done. I have had personal interactions throughout, obviously, as Coach Haney pointed out, a long time with Coach Haney and then Mr. Williams and Mr. James. And I don't think we could have got away with better individuals altogether. But before I end, I want to, my hat's off to Mr. Haney, because if you were the principal for Jeremiah Williams and Coach Haney, then you're doing something right down there. So 52 years in education, sir. Thank you very much for your dedication to the students and now professionals that are going to lead the next students. So thank you for that. And guys, congratulations. Looking forward to great things from y'all. Thank you.
Mr. Bamberg?
I couldn't resist Justin talking about he cut, he bleeds airline blue and all that kind of stuff. So we got him down to South Bossier, and I would imagine, I'm just guessing, if you cut any three of these guys, they'd probably bleed red. It'd be a debate between it was Buccaneer red or Parkway red, but no, Justin, I'm super happy. We kind of spoke through this process a lot, and I always told you I can't believe that you and Coach Wynn were in the Green Acres gym, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, throwing basketballs back and forth, and now you're at the largest school in the parish. So kudos to you and what you've done with your career. All three of you guys, you set great examples for our students and our leaders that are coming up. And we couldn't pick three finer gentlemen, so congratulations.
I think all three of these gentlemen have some pretty big shoes to fill. And Mr. Couvion, I want to echo, thank you for everything you've done for Bossier Parish. And I believe that you've groomed Mr. Haney very well to be ready to carry on the tradition. But thank you very much for what you've done for Bossier Schools and for Halton High School. And Mr. Williams, glad to keep you in the Sobo family. I think you'll work great with Mr. Bates and look forward to the future there. I do have a question for Mr. James. He can answer it later, but there's something about some red umbrellas that might have been purchased for Parkway teachers, and then they ended up with some airline colors on them, so we'll have to talk about that a little later. But I can tell you this about Justin James. When I heard that Justin was putting his name in the hat for airline, I knew he was going to be the guy for the job, but it really was kind of like sticking me in the back because I loved having him at Parkway. My daughter, when she found out he was leaving, she fussed at me. Why didn't you keep him at Parkway at least one more year till I'm gone? But Justin, good luck in North Bossier, and we appreciate everything you've done at Parkway, and all three of you guys. We really appreciate y'all and look forward to a bright future. Any other comments? We'll move right along here to item 2.02, recognition, Bossier Parish Schools Good News, presented by Sonia Bales, Public Relations Liaison.
Good evening, President Cheatham, Superintendent Downey, to all of our school board members and everybody here. Yes, the good news continues tonight because even though the 2018-19 school year has ended, the accolades and the accomplishments just keep on coming for our students and our employees. So first of all, I want to give you a quick overview of just some of those. Yesterday was a really big day for Bossier Parish Schools because 9 grant projects totaling nearly $25,000 were funded by the Bossier Optimist Club. And this is going to enable our teachers who are the grant recipients to bring classroom enhancements and learning opportunities to life for their students in the 1920 school year. And I think this is so impressive to let you know about. Since the Optimists began this teacher grant program specifically for Bossier school teachers back in 1988, they have awarded $484,000 for classroom enhancements to benefit our young people. So thank you so much to the Bossier Optimist Club, and congratulations to our teachers, the recipients of those 9 grant projects. Then just a couple of hours later, we traveled north to Plain Dealing High School, where the Lions were on the receiving end of a most generous donation from Sierra Frac Sand. Owner Kim R. Smith presented the school with a check for $50,000 to directly impact student learning in the form of scientific calculators for students, technology, and other much-needed resources for the pre-K through 12th grade campus. This is a huge shot in the arm for Plain Dealing, and it was coordinated with the help of District 5 Louisiana Public Service Commissioner Foster Campbell, who, by the way, his first career was as a teacher at Plain Dealing High School. So that was very important to him to be able to continue giving back and to be able to help facilitate that donation to the school that actually his very first paycheck came from Plain Dealing High. So congratulations to Plain Dealing High School, and a big thanks to Sierra Frac Sand. W.T. Lewis Elementary School Principal Lisa Burns was in the limelight at the Governor's Mansion recently when she was not only recognized as a state semifinalist for Louisiana Principal of the Year, but she was also named as a finalist for the honor. Mrs. Burns and 8 other principals in the state now advance in the competition for that coveted honor, which will be announced July 19th at an awards ceremony in Baton Rouge. So we are so proud of Miss Burns, semifinalist and now finalist for that prestigious honor, one of only 9 principals in the state of Louisiana. Another educator being recognized at the state level is Houghton Elementary teacher Shannon Gary, and she just recently learned that she earned the distinction of being named a mentor teacher for the Louisiana Department of Education. And let me just say that this is the culmination of a very arduous process that began 2 years ago, all while Miss Gary continued to teach, and very few educators in the state completed the process, making this accomplishment especially noteworthy. So Miss Gary is now able to coach and support new and resident teachers in their districts across Louisiana because of this distinction. So her hard work is paying off, and we are so proud of her and to call her one of our own. Bossier's own Louisiana Teacher of the Year, Spencer Kuiper, is going places. Of course, we already knew that. But Mr. Kuiper is soon going to be packing his bags and leaving for Germany. He has been selected as a global ambassador for the 2019 Education First Professional Development Tour to Berlin and Davos. The trip will culminate with a global leadership summit where he will be joining other educators and students to explore the summit's theme, the power of communication. And also applause is in order for Houghton High School LA 801st JROTC instructors Colonel Tony Zucco and Chief Master Sergeant Leroy Brown. The two are recipients of the 2019 Outstanding Instructor Awards by the Department of the Air Force Air University, an honor that symbolizes the best of the blue in the Air Force JROTC. Colonel Zucco and Chief Master Sergeant Brown were singled out for their exemplary contributions to the LA 801st and the impact that they have made on their cadets, their school, and community in Houghton. So congratulations to them. They were not able to be here tonight because they are at another leadership school elsewhere. You know, a hallmark that distinguishes Bossier Parish educators is not only are they teachers, but they're also lifelong learners, consistently seeking knowledge to educate themselves. And Terry Johnson, curriculum supervisor for grades 9 through 12, is one shining example of that, and I would like to ask her to please come forward at the podium. At Louisiana Tech's spring commencement ceremony, Mrs. Johnson became Dr. Terry Johnson. She earned her doctorate in educational leadership after the successful completion of her dissertation. Her topic, school choice competition and how district leaders respond to the resulting fiscal challenges. And I'm sure that many of you on the board would like to pick her brain on what she learned about that. But it is knowledge that she is now able to bring here to our own district and make our district even better. And she realized this dream, and I kind of fulfilled, she was just sharing with me, her father's journey to earn his doctorate. So this is very, very special. And tonight we want to congratulate Dr. Terry Johnson on this most impressive achievement and give her this award. This is our Award of Excellence medal that we give out in high achieving situations, if you will, and you certainly deserve this. This is on behalf of Bossier Schools and also our sponsor, Caldwell Banker Gosley. Our Award of Excellence, Inspiration, Imagination, Innovation, because that's what you embody. So congratulations.
Thank you. I just really want the opportunity to just say a word about this being a fulfillment of my father's dream. When I was a little girl, my father was working on his doctorate, and he had some major health problems and never finished his doctorate. And several years ago, when my mom passed away and her estate was settled, it was every opportunity coming together at the same time. And so, my husband, who's also away at getting ready for summer leadership school with Colonel Zucco, You know, he was very supportive because for nearly 3 years, you know, I came home and closed myself in a room and wrote. But it was very, I learned a lot and grew a lot and really fulfilled a family legacy that's very dear to my heart. Thank you.
And making it particularly special, her daughter also earned her doctorate, 2 weeks later? At Ole Miss. So 2 doctors in the Johnson family. Congratulations again. Someone else who has accomplished a huge feat is Benton High School's own Chase Taylor. Chase, would you please come forward and join me? There you are. I tell you what, this is exciting because Chase has done what few other students his age are able to do. You know, last year during his junior year, every high school student who was a junior took the ACT. But Chase earned a perfect ACT composite score of a 36. And I love to kind of do the number crunching because this achievement is even more remarkable when you consider that in 2018, only about 3,700 students out of more than 1.9 million graduates taking the ACT received a perfect score. That's amazing. So no doubt Chase is going to have a remarkable senior year at Benton High School and then followed by college. And his exceptional performance on the ACT also calls for him to be honored with our prestigious Award of Excellence Medal. So we want to congratulate you. Well done. Perfect ACT composite score of 36. Ladies and gentlemen, Chase Taylor. Congratulations. Finally, tonight, we recognize students from a half dozen Bossier Parish schools that represented our district so well at the Destination Imagination Global Finals held last month in Kansas City. You can tell that they had fun, but they were hard at work. More than 17,000 people attended Global Finals, and they competed in 7 challenges in STEAM education that promotes problem solving. The different challenges are technical, scientific, fine arts, improvisational, engineering, service learning, and early learning. And the purpose of Destination Imagination is for teams to work together to develop a solution to the various challenges that they are posed with, fostering curiosity, courage, and creativity. And these teams had to earn the right to be able to even go to global finals by placing first at the state level, which they all did. So let's introduce you to our Bossier Parish teams and tell you how they ranked at global finals. We begin with the Kingston Elementary School technical team. Will the Cubs please come forward? Are those all my Kingston Cubs? You have matching shirts with another school. I just want to make sure. Let me tell you, they did amazing. Their team manager is Lee Chamberlain. And overall, they placed 22nd in the world and 40th in the instant challenge. And remember, we have 17,000 people competing there at Global Finals. So we want to give a big congratulations to our Kingston Elementary School technical team. Well done. So you guys just stay here because we're going to get all of you here together. So now please help me welcome the Airline High School Service Learning team. So they did amazing as well. Overall, they placed 25th in the world, 32nd in the instant challenge. Team manager is Rachel Bryant. Congratulations to the Airline High School Service Learning team. And our next team that did exceptionally well, Houghton Middle School's scientific team. team manager is Cheryl Wilhite. Overall, they placed 29th at global finals, and wait till you hear this, in the instant challenge category, 12th in the world. Congratulations to Houghton Middle School. Now let's give a big hand to Legacy Elementary School's technical team. So overall, they placed 42nd at DI Global Finals, and in the instant challenge, 18th place. That is remarkable. Team manager is Heather Pearson. Let's give a big congratulations to Legacy Elementary School's technical team. And next, we welcome Houghton High School's scientific team. Their team managers are Ellen Allen and Jessica Rayleigh. Overall, they placed 42nd in the world, instant challenge, 44th place. They did phenomenal. So let's give them a big round of applause. And last but certainly not least, the Elm Grove Middle School Service Learning Team. Overall, they placed 52nd in the world. Hear this now, instant challenge. They came in 13th across the globe. Team managers are Casey Adkins and Crystal Gann, the Elm Grove Middle School Service Learning Team. And I know that I have a lot of the team managers in the audience, so would you please stand if you're a team manager? We appreciate the hard work that they put into this as well, because this is not something that they get paid to do. This is something that they believe in and they volunteer to do, and that means after school hours and on weekends. And I also want to recognize Joan Turek over here, who is instrumental in the Destination Imagination program as well, and she also happens to be the state executive director of Destination Imagination, also an unpaid position, may I just say. So, Ms. Turek, if I could get you to stand, please, too. So Destination Imagination is huge, as you can imagine, since it is global finals. I mean that literally, because it is located in 45 states, 30 countries. So I'm sure that you got to meet some of your peers from across the world, right? From different countries. Somebody just want to kind of yell out maybe some of the countries. Guatemala, China, Korea, Turkey, Japan. Is that not cool or what? I'm telling you what, that's awesome. And you got to maybe exchange pins with them? Because that's one of the highlights with Destination Imagination and Global Finals, being able to exchange pins. They all have their own pins that they're able to exchange with their peers from around the world. So I'll tell you what, that's an experience of a lifetime that you got to be able to go on to Kansas City. And it truly gives our students the chance to not only shine, but as I mentioned, to compete with their peers on stage across the nation and at the world level. So if one more time you will join me in giving them a big round of applause for representing Bossier Schools so well. Congratulations to each of you. And with that, that concludes my report. And next year, we're going to have you all come back when you've gone back to DI Global Finals. Enjoy your summer.
Mr. Bachhaus had some comments for us.
I normally don't speak much on these kind of items, but I can't resist it. I worked 18 years with Coach Couvion, and not only as an SRO officer, but as a father of his students, and now as a grandfather of the students. And I want you to know how lucky Houghton area was to have Gene Cuvion as their principal. And Coach, I appreciate it, and I enjoyed working with you. I also enjoyed working with David Haney, and there's no doubt in my mind that the Houghton people will continue to be lucky to have David Haney out there. And one other little item about Mr. James is before the school board got him, I had him at Bossier Police Department. And he was one great police officer. He decided to go into education, and it looks like he made the correct decision, although we missed him at Bossier Police. He's going to do a great job. And Mr. Williams, I've heard so much about you. The people down south are lucky to have you. Thank y'all very much.
Mr. Masseur?
I'll keep mine quick. Miss Joan Turek, when she developed this program for the parish, what year was that, Miss Joan? About 2001. So I'm dated a little bit on how long I've been around here, but they, you know, it's a new program. We don't know what this all entails until she put it together. My kids were involved in that, and I thought, here's another extracurricular activity that, you know, we don't need to be involved in. It turns out to be one of the best ones that they ever participated in, sports and all, was the DI program. And I did want to tell you, and it just reminded me when they mentioned your name, that when I opened my son's blanket, his pin blanket, and the pins fell out, and I'm in my bare feet, I thought a lot about you and that program from those trips. But thank you so much for all your time and hard work, and your husband putting up with you being gone and all. I know it's a team effort, but what you've done for our students and my kids personally, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Mr. Masseur. At this time, we're going to get started with our business, but if you'd like to leave before then, feel free to take a minute to do that.
Yeah, don't the new principals have?
Item 3.01, Report Audit and Security Meeting held June 6, 2019, presented by Kent Bockhouse, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, we had a audit and security meeting earlier this evening. One item that we had was to hire a new SRO officer for what was previously the Benton High School building, 8th grade, and 15 classrooms is going to be housed there. And the audit committee unanimously voted to hire a new one.
Thank you. This is out of committee. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 3.02, request consideration of the renewal of Mr. Jerry Fowler's tenure on the Cypress Black Bayou Recreation and Water Conservation District Board of Commissioners, presented by Mitch Downey, Superintendent.
Thank you, President Cheatham. We're requesting consideration of renewal of Mr. Jerry Fowler's tenure on the Cypress Black Bayou Recreation and Water Conservation District's Board of Commissioners as a representative for Bossier Parish Schools. Mr. Robert Berry, the director, is here, as well as Mr. Fowler, if anyone has any questions for them.
I can speak from comments I've heard, and Mr. Fowler's tenure has been exemplary, and I'd like to make a motion we continue his presence.
A motion by Mr. Bullard, a second by Mr. Masura. Please vote. Motion carries. He'd like to speak.
Mr. President, I lost my audience, and also I'm having to follow a professional speaker. So just bear with me, but I want to do, before we get it started, Chase is not here. He was a young man that had the 36 score on ACT. I don't know if y'all have any, y'all do, but something about not how much money that's worth. That's a heck of a score. I think that was my overall average my senior year. Not my score, but my overall average. But I want to thank the board for the vote of confidence in me. Again, the Bossier Parish school system is very dear to Donnell and I. Together, we put together about 80 years of service in the system. And this gives me an opportunity to give back to the community and give back to the school system, in a very small way. I want to extend this invitation to the board members. If you have not been to the park in the last 5 years, you would not recognize it. You're going to get an opportunity to come, because you'll be receiving a letter from me in 2 or 3 weeks, giving you a personal invitation to come at your convenience. I'll come by and pick you up anywhere you want me to. 1, 2, or 3 of you. I could get 3 of you in Donnella's car. I could get 4 of you in mine. So I don't know which one it'll be. I'll give you a personal tour of the park. You won't recognize it if you hadn't been there in the last 4 or 5 years. And what I want to do with that is thank our director for that and his efforts that he has put into the park. And Mr. Robert Berry and his wife Twyla are here, and Robert puts in untold hours. If he were on a time clock, he'd wear it out, just in a week's time. But I want to thank Mr. Berry for all he does, and also I want to thank my wife for her support behind us too. And thank you all for your vote of confidence.
Item 3.03, Award of Legal Journal, presented by Frank Rougeau, Chief Financial Officer.
President Cheatham, Superintendent Downey, we would like to recommend that the Bossier Press Tribune continue to be our legal journal for the 2019-20 fiscal year. Their bid came in at the same that they have for the last several years, which is $18,000 a year, $1,500 monthly. So that's our recommendation.
Have a motion by Mr. Slack.
Second.
Second by Ms. Darby. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 3.04, request resolution providing for canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the special election held in parish-wide school district of the Parish of Bossier, State of Louisiana on Saturday, May 4th, 2019, presented by Frank Rougeau, Chief Financial Officer.
It is time to canvass the returns from the May 4th election. We do have a special resolution that outlines all the details of that and the results of the election, so I would ask that the board approve this at this time.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bullard, second by Mr. Wiggins. Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 3.05, request approval of pupil progression plan for 2019-2020, presented by Dr. Nicole Bourgeois, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Academic Affairs.
Thank you, President Cheatham, Superintendent Downey, and board members. It's that time of year that we look at our progression and placement of students, the guide that we use. The State Department has provided us the option for the 2019-20 school year to choose one of 3 options After speaking with Mr. Downey, the option we chose was to retain the locally approved pupil progression plan for the 2019-20 school year. No changes have been made.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Newman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Masura. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 3.06, approval of addition of CTE coordinator position and part-time jumpstart coach to aid schools and counselors in providing student opportunities to be paid for through grant money, presented by Jada Spillers, principal of Bossier Parish School of Technology and Innovative Learning.
Good evening, President Cheatham, Superintendent Downey, board members. I would like to present two positions. The first one is a career and technical education coordinator. That one is being put through a grant, hopefully will be approved, and that will also provide support of the career technical education programs throughout our parish. With the increase in the Jump Start graduation pathways, we have 22 and 2 that are still going to be coming on board. This increase will certainly need some more support. Also, the Jump Start coach will be a part-time position that will directly support our counselors in assisting with helping students track those Jump Start pathways and help them along with their college and career plans.
Thank you, President Cheatham. Ms. Spillers, thank you for you and your team. I know y'all got a lot of information from the state on the job description and everything, and I just want to reiterate to the board the importance of this position and potentially more down the road because of how much emphasis is being put on CTE and Jumpstart from the state. It's starting to balance itself out with the top university programs, and we are constantly fighting a battle to get more support for these types of things. And just kind of heads up, we're probably going to need some more people down the road. They've done a lot of work finding ways for this to be funded with Carl Perkins, which is grant money for those topics, but nice job on this. There's more to come from this. I've been knee-deep in it. You can ask Mr. Downey. We talk on a regular basis about CT and Jumpstart, so thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Board members, there's a lot more to come after this, and just wanted to kind of give you a heads up and thank the administrative staff for putting all that together.
Thank you, sir.
And I'd like to make a motion that we create these positions.
I'd like to second that.
I have a motion by Mr. Newman, second by Mr. Wiggins. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 3.07, permission to award RFP for food, frozen food, meat, poultry, fish, milk, bread, water, alternative juices, paper, plastics, chemicals, and trays, presented by Carla Horton, Supervisor of Child Nutrition Program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Board, President Cheatham, and Superintendent Downey. We did something a little bit different this year. We did an RFP together with Carrie Douglas with purchasing, and we looked not only at price, but we looked at service, we looked at compatibility with our software, we looked at online access to manage our invoices, and lots of other things, and we did a point system. And so myself, my procurement person in my office, and Ms. Douglas have looked at everything, and we've rated the companies are as follows. They also got extra points if they were a small women-owned or minority business. And so this is our recommendation to award the solicitations. Foodway is a local company. The Domino's for the Smart Slice is as well, as is Borden, Carefree, and Long. So we basically have almost all local small companies to be serving us, and that's what we recommend.
I have a motion by Mr. Masura.
Second.
Second by Ms. Brotherton. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 3.08, request, consider, and take action regarding attendance stipend pilot program, presented by Shane Cheatham, Board President. Mr. Rougeau, can you maybe, I just want to know a little bit, if you can give us some numbers. Obviously, this pilot program we started last year. I think the first time the pilot program was brought to us, we kind of kicked it down the road, and then we came back and we tried it for this year. I just wanted to see if you could give us a little bit of information about that.
So we do have some financial information. Overall, we did save on substitute as far as how much we spent on substitutes during the 17-18 year, but overall it was a well-received program. We had a lot of teachers that did have perfect attendance month after month, as well as support workers, and it definitely was a total cost to the district. So by the time you figure in the retirement and the Medicare cost and how much the substitute savings was a deduction of, but it still was about $2.6 million was a net cost. So it was quite expensive. I'm sure the test scores later on we'll be able to know if it did have an impact on those, but that's the financial information.
Can y'all hear me? Okay. You know, when this was brought to us over a year ago, it was, I guess, sold to the board as a cost neutral, that we were going to save a lot of money on the substitute side, and it was going to be kind of a cost neutral. And then about 2 months into this, we realized that it wasn't going to be cost neutral, and it was going to cost quite a bit more than we had originally thought. Obviously, with it being a pilot program, tonight, I guess what we need to discuss is if this is something we're going to move forward with, or if it's something we're not going to move forward with. My personal opinion is and I've gotten quite a few emails from teachers and employees on each side of this, some being for it, some being against it, and explaining why they were against it. But personally, I would like to see us not move forward with this pilot program, and like to see us try to find a way to use this additional money towards a stipend or an actual raise or a stipend that we can put towards all of our employees. I think when we go through here and we, you know, you can look at it several different ways, but when you start paying this attendance bonus, and we talked about this the first time it came to us, you know, you're rewarding people for doing what they were really supposed to do, which is come to work. And then when people have sick children or they're sick themselves, you're almost kind of forcing them to come to work. And I think that becomes not the best thing. If somebody's got the flu, I'm not sure we want them there to spread the flu around to their coworkers. So it's just kind of some of my opinions. We can talk about it and we can discuss it. I do believe that we you know, we've already been talking, and our finance committee meeting is going to meet next week, and we've been talking about how we can come up with some different options to handle maybe an additional stipend of some sort, but have it not where it's not based on attendance. And on that, I'll pass it along to whoever. Mr. Mercer, did you want to speak first?
Yeah, thank you, President Cheatham. After seeing the results of this and it not being as favorable, I am not in favor of continuing to do this. And that sounds like I'm against teachers and them coming to school. What I'm in favor of is the same thing I've pressed on for the last 3 years, and that is we reward these teachers through stipends, end of the year money, and if we're going to spend $2.6 million, and who knows what it'll be moving forward if we continue in that program, we put that money, which we know we can come up with, it's somewhere in this big nasty budget, that we give it back to our employees. Don't take it from them, but it's not fair to have these folks missing a day, you know, with a sick child or being sick themselves, or, you know, circumstances that they can't control, and they lose out on $200. And so it's obvious the program didn't work out the way we thought it would, but I'd like to see us take this amount of money or something equivalent to it, get it in that budget so that we can give it back to these employees, because they desperately have earned it and are, you know, we just owe it to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mercer. Mr. Bullard?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Rougeau, could you refresh my memory? What did we have budgeted for this pilot program?
I had estimated about $2 million after we got into it and saw the first few months. I had estimated about 2 million. It came in a little higher than that, so.
I guess what I'm asking, when we approved our budget last August, September for fiscal 1920, 18-19, what number were we working with at that time? My memory is it was $200,000 or $300,000.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. To begin with, that's what we anticipated.
And so we've had to pick up the 2.3, 2.4 million. That's just had to come out of our reserves. Is that an accurate
Well, we have
statement?
had some revenues that have come in more favorable than what we had budgeted, so I don't believe it's going to have a $2.6 million impact on our budget, or 2.3. So the dust hadn't all settled from the budget yet, but it's not going to be that amount of money.
What would be your best guess estimate right now?
If I had to guess, maybe $500,000.
So you feel like we'll be able to make up a little over, say, 1.6, 1.8 million?
Yes, sir.
Through unanticipated revenue?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Ruggiero.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Newman?
Thank you, Mr. Cheatham. I concur with Mr. Masura's comments about finding another way to reward our staff. We'll be in here for the Finance Committee meeting, but we need to find a permanent compensation mechanism to use this money towards, and any other monies that we can find, whether it be stipends or additional monies added to the back-to-school check or 13th check, or however we do that, but some type of permanent compensation mechanism can be found and put into place. Everybody's squeezing every drop out of the turnip, but I think this money, rolling it back out of some type of basically performance attendance stipend into a permanent mechanism, is going to be the best approach, and we'll just have to go from there. So I guess I would second Mr. Masura's motion to not renew this.
Thank you, Mr. Newman. Mr. Wiggins?
Thank you, Mr. President. I say let it be heard. Say that cotton picking word. I give you the praise. Say it. Raise. All the way. Raise. 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 I ain't scared to say it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wiggins.
Dennis is first.
Mr. Bamberg?
I was just going to say that we are scheduled to start going through our budget starting next week, and kind of going through that with a fine-tooth comb to see through the eyes of trying to find some additional monies for our teachers and staff for pay raises. And did we even budget anything for this 1920 for the pilot program?
We had budgeted like I believe it was 200,000 to begin with, is what we had anticipated. Then we could see
for this coming school year. We didn't.
Right, but like what we had said, we do have some additional revenues to help offset the cost.
For the next year, you're talking about for the next
1920.
You're coming at the next year.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't put anything in next year's.
No, we haven't got that to that point yet.
It's not built out yet.
Okay. So I'm surely going to be in favor of putting an end to this program, but I think we, as a board, need to try to replace and try to find this amount of money and some additional money so we can fund our teachers and our staff and our employees to a level that the best we can as a board. So, and I don't think putting a number in here for this, especially with there's different facets that our teachers don't like about it, but a lot of it was negative toward it because they had to take a day or couldn't go see their kids' awards assemblies and different things like that. And I feel like the program, when it was introduced, it was fast and furious, and the board was had a taste to try to do whatever we could to increase our morale of our teachers, and we rushed it and we missed it big time on this program. And I think that's why we need to, starting next week, we need to take a very, very serious look and a long, hard look and go through our budget and try to figure out a permanent raise for our teachers. So I hope that we can do that, but we got to get through the process and see. But I think this needs to go.
Thank you, Mr. Bamberg. Ms. Brotherson?
Well, I too think that we need to end this program. When we started it, we did it with good intentions. You know, our intentions were good. We knew it was going to be a pilot program, and it just didn't pan out the way that we were hoping it would. And most of the comments that I received from teachers and all were pretty negative. A lot of them were negative. You know, I agree, we need to end this, but we also need to look at our budget, and we've got to come up with something. And a start is the money. We need to set aside that money, and we need to try to find some way to give our teachers some type of raise, something for these teachers. They deserve it. And so I'll be voting no against this program also.
Thank you, Ms. Brotherson. At this time, I believe we have a motion by Mr. Masura and a second by Mr. Newman that we discontinue the pilot program for the attendance stipend. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 3.09, approval of trip requests.
President Cheatham, these are in order.
So moved.
Have a motion by Ms. Brotherson.
Second.
Second by Ms. Darby. Please vote. Motion carries. Item 4.01, announcements and superintendent's comments.
Thank you, President Cheatham. The next Building and Grounds meeting is 4:30 next Tuesday, June 11th, here at the BIC, followed by a Finance Committee meeting for a budget review at 5 o'clock that same day here at the BIC. That concludes my announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Downey. Item 5.01, adjournment of the regular session of the board.
Motion adjourned. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Slack, a second by Mr. Bullard. Please vote. Motion carries. We are adjourned.